So, so we try to look at like an, I hope you all created AWS account now. So what we look at is in the previous session, we try to understand what is IAM, how to create a user group, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we assign some policy to that. I mean, we did not create our own custom policy that we look at anyway. Okay. Now we try to understand one of the important service is a EC2. Okay. EC2 is nothing but Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay. Basically a virtual machine in a cloud. That's a virtual machine in the cloud. So why we required a virtual machine in a cloud? Why we required a virtual machine? To install the any application, right? We want to install some applications on it and I want to use that. So okay, we require some platform for that. We require some server for that. So that okay, we can create a virtual machine. In AWS point of view, we call it as an instance. Instance or virtual machine or EC2 instance, VM, anything you say. Okay. If you look at here, I have a servers which are already created, but those are all in stopper state. Those are all in stopper state. If the server is in stopper state, they don't charge for the compute. If the virtual machine is in stopper state, suppose, okay, AWS will not charge for compute. But if you attach a storage, then they'll charge. Okay. That we have to have a clarity. If you stop the server, they don't charge it. But if you used in a storage, definitely they'll charge for that. Okay. Okay, we'll look at that. So when you look at instances, so if I want to create an instance, what are the things we require? If I want to create, let us say you want to purchase a laptop, right? What are the things we require? What are the things you consider to create, right?
Memory.
Or
If I want
memory,
to
OS,
purchase,
OS.
yeah, you
company.
consider which OS you require, right? How much
Yes.
CPU, memory, right?
Memory.
Disk size. Any other things you consider?
Battery.
Okay, fine. Any other thing?
Okay.
Graphic card.
Yeah, yes, graphic cards and all that. So, okay. We also look at like apart from this, okay, we also consider like some of the resources. Yeah, you said like graphic card is one of the option. When to use graphic card, let us say you are using some, okay, like okay, some AI related content you are running or any gaming related application you are using, then you can use a graphic card. It depends on that application requirement basically. Whenever you are launching any, whenever you create any resource, right? So we look at what is the requirement for that application. According to that, okay, we try to provision the resources, right?
Yes.
So in AWS point of view, the OS already installed in one of the image. OS is already installed. Everything is ready in one of the image. We call it as an AMI. What is that? Amazon
AMI.
image. We call it as Amazon machine image, which is everything installed. Okay, which is everything installed. Okay. So what are the things installed on this OS, like Windows or Linux? Okay. OS is installed on, and you can, if you launch that, right? So OS installed one will get. What about the CPU, memory, and disk and all those stuff? AWS has divided their servers into different types or families. Different types and families they divide. Okay. Different types and families they divide. If you look at here, let me try to launch one server here, launch instance. When you're trying to launch instance, right? So you can give some name, that is fine. VM1. Which image you require? You see here, these are all the images, either Windows, Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux. Lot of AMIs are available.
Yes.
If you want, you can create your own customized AMIs also. In production, right? We create our own customized images that we use it. We don't use someone given images. So that's also we look at in coming days, how to create our own customized images. Okay. At this moment, let us try to go with this. The Amazon Linux server or Windows server, anything is fine. Now, how big server you required is depends on what instance type you are selecting. So if you look at here, they divided that into T2 micro, small, nano, large, X large. See, basically what happens, like if you go to pizza center, right? So they'll give you like small pizza, medium pizza, large pizza, such kind of, right?
Yes.
Can you ask, hey, can you give me 1 kg pizza kind of?
No.
Because they have some specifications already defined, right? In the same way, Amazon has, okay, AWS has divided certain types. If you go with the T2 micro, you get one CPU, 1 GB RAM, right? Whereas if you go with a small, you get one CPU, 2 GB RAM. Medium, large, extra large, 2x large, 4x large, different types are there, right? So if you search for T2, what is T2? I'll tell you. If you try to search for T2 nano, medium, large, small, okay, medium, you get 2 CPUs and 4 GB RAM. Large, 2 CPUs, 8 GB RAM. Such a way, they divided their resources into different types and families also. What is family then? The family we have like an compute instance, memory-based instances, storage-based instances. If you look at, there is a series called R series. Okay, I'll tell you R series. R series is more memory intensive kind of. Okay. Let us say R4 or R5. If you look at here, R5 4x large, you get 16 CPU, 128 GB RAM. Suppose your application is SAP related. Okay, they required SAP are more into memory intensive applications. Okay, SAP applications required more memory intensive applications. So let us look at like, so SAP approved AWS instance types. So if you look at Amazon EC2 instance type for SAP, SAP also approved certain instance types for their applications. Okay, so you can try to look at, okay, what kind of an applications you required. According to that, you can try to take. Okay. Amazon EC2 examples for second SAP documentation itself. Right. Where can I find instance types for recommended for SAP? Yes, we know it. So if you observe, they recommend certain resources. Okay. Okay. So based on their, again in SAP, there is a lot of different applications, right? So, okay, so we have an, okay, SAP HANA, a database kind of. SAP, uh, okay, where it is not showing. SAP HANA certified. Okay, let us try to look at this. So if you look at here, R series I told, right? R series, R5.
Yes.
Okay, R series is memory intensive.
Mm.
SAP HANA is their database point of view. They are giving you 32 CPUs and 250 GB RAM. Okay, these are all the AW, I mean, SAP recommended instance types. More, they required more memory. Okay, now that is a memory intensive family. We have a compute intensive family, memory intensive family, okay, and storage intensive. There is a general purpose also. General purpose means regular web servers you can create, like T series is a general purpose. Okay, it is general purpose. So we can select this T2 micro. When you are practicing, okay, practice point of view, you can select only T2 micro because it is free tier eligible. Okay, in AWS, if you launch a very big server, right, immediately you'll get a bill accordingly.
Yes.
So you have to be very careful when you are using AWS. Okay, so that's why you have to make sure that you try to create only T2 micro for practicing point of. That too, you'll get 750 hours of free subscription. Every month you'll get 750 hours. Suppose you started 750 servers now. Hypothetically, you started 750 servers now. What happened? Next 1 hour, your subscription for that particular month will complete it. Next hour onwards, they'll charge you.
Okay.
Right? So if you look at here, what they are saying is, here if you observe, your first year of opening AWS account, you can get 750 hours per month of T2 micro or T3 micro. Okay. So you
Yes.
can try to take T2 micro. So suppose let us say I started one server today. 2 hours I used. I did lab for my lab point of view I created. I stopped it. Again tomorrow I used. Again 2 hours I used, I stopped. So whenever you require to do anything, if you want to do the lab, you can start it. Once you have done your task, you can stop.
Okay.
Okay. So to avoid that unnecessary bills, we try to do that. We try to set up billing alerts also. So that we'll try to do that to avoid the unnecessary bills. Now, in AWS point of view, or any server you see, if I want to connect, I require the credentials like username and password, right? Either you require username and password credentials, or else you can connect with the key pair. Can connect with key pair. So as of now, let us say we don't have a key pair. You can create a key pair. Okay, you can create a key pair. So we have an option to create like an PEM file or PPK file. If you are connecting from PuTTY, like in Windows generally what happens, we try to install PuTTY. From the PuTTY, we try to connect it. Okay.
Okay.
So let us try to use PuTTY as of now. Okay. Now create, what is the key pair name? Let us say, okay, AWS EC2. Okay. Key pair name is AWS EC2. Whatever the name you want, you can try to create. That's up to you. I'm creating a key pair. So when you say create a key pair, right? Okay, when you say create a key pair, it will download the particular key pair in your in your downloads location. See, AWS EC2.ppk. It is created. That is fine. Let it. So I'm not going to change any of the inputs, any of the settings as of now. I given only three options. One is a virtual machine name. What is an AMI?
Linux.
An instance type. What is my key pair? Only these four options I selected as of now. I'm trying to launch instance. I'm trying to launch instance. So rest of all the things it will pick up by default. Let it be. I'm not going to touch all those stuff. Okay. So let it be all those things.
Okay.
Okay. So as and when we move forward, we can try to understand all those things. See, it is successfully initiated your launch. If you want to see the launch logs, okay, if you have some issues, right? Sometimes if you have any issues, you can see here. This is the instance ID.
Okay.
Every server has a unique ID. Every server has a unique ID. If you click on that instance ID, right, it has filtered with that.
Okay.
If you are not filtered, okay, just remove that filter. You have three servers altogether. Out of three, two are stopped, one is running.
Yes.
So once it is in running state, you can able to select that. You can see all the details. What is the instance type? What is the public IP? What is the private IP? Okay. Okay. So you have a lot of details here. So let us see one by one. You can see here something like status checks. You can see something like status checks. So those sometimes what happens, though your server is running, you cannot connect it because it makes sure that okay, the status checks are complete.
Yes.
So that means it will try to validate your hardware and software check. It will try to check whether your server is reachable. Whatever the OS you installed VM, okay, in the VM level, whatever the OS is installed is properly booted or not. It will try to validate those things.
Okay.
Once it is valid, then only you can connect. Where you can see that status details is here you can see your status. There are two types of status checks. One is a system status check, instant status check. System status check is nothing but hardware check. Whether, okay, wherever it is launched. This VM has launched in one of the hardware, right? Wherever it is launched, that hardware is properly working as expected. It is reaching the network and all. If that is successful, you can see it is completed, successful time. Then it will also check the OS like virtualization, VM initialization details, it will check. So refresh this. And now see 2x2 checks are passed. That means system reachability check is completed. Properly it is connecting to the VM. That is good. Okay. Instant status check is also completed. Reachability test is completed. That means it is able to properly booted my VM. My OS is properly booted. There is no issues. Okay. Now we could be able to connect to the server. There's a lot of ways to connect. We'll try to look at one of the simple way. Here you see connect option, right? Connect option. See these many ways you can connect. What is this all? We'll try to look at one by one. Here you see instant connect, right? Simply you can say connect here. That's it. So which IP we are using? Public IP. Which username we are using? EC2 user. That is the default username. I will say connect. You say connect. So basically what happens? it is trying to connect with that particular user and public IP, and it is connected. But in production, we don't use this one. Okay, we never use this in production. For practicing point of view, just for initial loop, okay, it is fine. See, we connected to the server. Now let me close this. What happened here? See, it is a public IP and user IP. In production, even you don't have a public IPs for your servers. You have only private IPs. 99% your servers having only private IPs, no public IP. Why we are using public IP here now? Because we don't have any VPN setup. Generally, what happens, we have some VPN setup to your data center. From there, we'll try to connect to your AWS account. We'll see that. Tomorrow, we are going to start. We'll see the networking topic. Then I'll explain you what is this, different types of IPs. So we are using public IP at this moment just for connecting to this virtual machine. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll try to open the
In project, right?
Yeah, in project, in your organization, we don't use public IPs. Okay, so most 99% will have a private IPs only. Certain servers are there like firewalls, okay, some network related devices. There we use public IPs. So we'll look at that in coming days. We have a NAT devices, all still look. Here I'm trying to take the public IP to connect. Okay, I'm trying to take my public IP to connect. This is my public IP. Okay, here is my public IP. Okay, I copied it. I opened a putty, so you can download putty from the putty.org. Go ahead and look at here. Putty.org. You can go here and look at here, download putty. Here you see there's a 64-bit x86 is there, right?
Yes.
Click over here. Right? It will try to download the putty session file. Okay, it is simple exe file. Okay, once it is downloaded, if you click on that, okay, it will open the session. You can try to give your IP address here. So we downloaded the PPK file, right? Initially. So where it is located, how to give that, you can see here, there is a SSH option. In the SSH, there is the authentication credentials. SSH, authentication credentials. Browse that private key. Okay. You can try to browse that particular private key. Where we downloaded in the downloads location, right? So AWS EC2.ppk. Click on it. Open that. So now the session for that particular server session is open. What is the username? EC2.
EC2 user.
By default username is EC2-user. But okay, we try to create our own custom users and all fine. So we connected to the server now. On top of this, you can install any applications as per your requirements. Okay. Some people may use SAP applications, some people may use web servers like Apache, Nginx, Tomcat. Some people may use databases like Oracle, MySQL, MS SQL, whatever. Okay. So once we have ready the server, we can utilize that. Suppose we have done with our lab. We have done with our lab. To avoid that, okay, 750 hours limitation is there, right? To avoid that, what we can do? You can select that particular instance, right? And you can say instance state. You want to stop, reboot, terminate. Terminate means completely delete, okay? Terminate means completely delete. You cannot get it back again. I mean, if you have a backup, then you can restore. That is a different case. So that is completely deleting. So what I'll do here, go and simply stop it here. If I say stop, what happens? The server is going to stop.
Okay.
But what happened? By mistake, I stopped it. It is a production server actually. It is a production server. Okay, I thought of stopping this particular server. I thought of stopping this particular server, Docker server. By mistake, I stopped VM1. Okay, by selecting, okay, manual mistake, human mistake. So just I selected VM1 and stopped it. That is a production server. It impacts, right?
Yes.
Avoid that kind of situations. Okay, they have given some protection. AWS has given some protections. If you look at instance settings, change stop protection, change shutdown protection, change termination protection. That means if you enable the termination, let us say, if you enable the termination protection, if you enable the termination protection, now by mistake you clicked on terminate. By mistake you clicked on terminate. Is that allowing you to terminate?
No.
By this you understand what is the rest of the two options, right?
Yes.
So what it says? Change stop protection. You cannot, once you enable the stop protection, you cannot stop it. You cannot stop it. Okay, now you can go and stop. Let us try this. So let us say stop. Delete arrow. Let us say stop. Stop. So fail to stop that instance because we protected it.
Yes.
Now we know that yes, I know that, okay, intentionally I'm stopping it because it is not required now to run. I know that. So I can try to say change stop protection. I try to
Disable.
disable that. I try to disable that. Then I can say, okay, here I can say instant state. I can say stop. Okay, I can say stop. Now it is initiated the stopping now. If you observe here
Yes.
also this one thing also you try to observe, it is going to stopping state now. It is going to stopping state. The life cycle, if you observe, okay, it is going to stopping state, then it will go to stopper state. Okay. In the same way, when you're trying to launch the server, okay, when you're trying to launch the server, or else when you create a server, you can look at here. Let me try to start one server here. Whenever you start a server or create a server, okay, whenever you start, right? If see here, it is going to pending state. First, server is going to pending state, then running state. If you look at now, in a some time, it will from pending, it will go to running state.
Yes.
If you stop it, it will go to stopping state, then it will go to stopper state. So why we require this? Do you need to understand this? Is there any logic in behind? Yes, there is some requirements of it. So suppose my manager asked me, hey, can you send me an alert whenever there is a server is stopped, whenever the new server is created. So what do we need to look at now? If the server is in pending state, I want to send a mail. Such kind of events we can try to add. So pending means what? Either you create a new server or you're starting server, then only it will go to pending. So I want to send alert. Such kind of logic we can implement. Okay. So we need to understand life cycle. So first it will go to pending state, then it will go to running state. If you stop it, it will go to stopping state, then stop. If you terminate it, let us say if you terminated means completely deleted. What happens in that case? Terminate. When I say terminate, it will go to shutting down state first. Shutting down. Then terminate kind of. Okay.
Okay.
So that's it for today, guys. Okay. So what we'll do tomorrow, we are going to connect at 7 a.m. IST. We'll try to look at networking concept. First of all, what is IP? Okay, what type of IPs we have? Okay. So what is mean by public subnets? There are different types of IPs are there. Class A, class B, class C. Okay. Then we try to
Always we are using.
go
Hello.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, always you are using in project work public IP or private IP?
What I told you, we don't use public IPs and in a production.
Okay.
As we are learning, we are using public IPs fine. But in production, we
Okay.
don't use public IPs.
Only private.
Only private IPs.
Okay.
Some use
Okay.
cases are there, some network devices, some
Hmm.
firewalls. If you create such kind of network devices, then we use public IPs. Okay. Very
Okay.
rare.
One
Okay.
question here, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, one question here, sir. So
Yeah, tell me.
in real time, right? So we'll use putty only to connect to the servers, or any other medium, or any other tools we'll use it.
Some people use mobile extend kind of, but yeah, you can consider putty is a widely used tool. Okay?
Oh,
You can use Git Bash also. So we'll try to look at one by one option, but yeah, it is not that big deal. Yeah, you can use putty. Okay, most of the
no.
people use putty. Okay, guys. See you tomorrow at 7 a.m. IST. So where we try to understand, like an networking concept, how the networking works, what is IP, all those things we try. Fine. See you tomorrow.